Good evening, everyone. My name is Jackie. This is Vinyāsa Yoga. Welcome to class today. This is going to be a 60-minute yoga class where we are going to go through a series of poses from our warm-up and centering all the way to our final relaxation. And hopefully by the end of this class, you leave feeling better than when you walked in. If you are joining us from home, you will want to make sure that you have something you can practice on underneath you. So whether that be a yoga mat of your own, a towel, a blanket, maybe you just have some carpet or a rug under you, that's great too. And then there are also some optional props. So if you'd like to, you can have a block nearby. You'll see I have a block. If you don't have something like that accessible for you, maybe just a hard thing like a book or some type of like a chair, piece of furniture, or a stool. That might help you through some poses today. And then if you want something like a pillow or a blanket to rest underneath you at certain points, you can have that option as well. But otherwise, if you need some time to grab those things, take them. But if you are ready to go, we are going to get started with practice today. So we are going to start in child's pose, and I'm going to face this side so you can see me. You're just going to be on your knees, on your mat or towel, wherever you are. Big toes can be touching, knees can be separated. It's completely up to you how far you want to separate them. They can be together, they can be farther apart. Kind of feel that out when you get into the pose, but we're going to go ahead and walk our hands out in front of us onto our mat or the ground. Let our forehead rest onto that space. Gaze can either be between the knees, or this is a great time to maybe close our eyes. And we're going to take this time to just arrive onto the mat, arrive into our practice today. We want to take these 60 minutes and really dedicate them towards yourself. So starting to let go of maybe all of that judgment or outside worries and thoughts that are maybe following us into class. Starting to be a little more aware of that and letting those thoughts just float on by. And we're going to start to become aware of our breath and deepen our breathing, slow our breathing down. So starting to breathe in and out through our nose, inhaling through the nose, filling the lungs up all the way, and then exhaling back out through the nose. You might notice that breathing is audible, and that's okay. As we breathe in and out, thinking about each inhale a little deeper, maybe a little longer than the last. Maybe even holding that air at the top before slowly exhaling. Each exhale slower and deeper than the last. If you would like to set an intention for your practice today, I encourage you to do so here. So maybe thinking about what you're needing, what you're looking to get out of class. I will not be recommending one for us today, so if you have one in mind, take that. And if not, I encourage you to just think about staying present with yourself, your body and mind through this class. Taking a couple more deep breaths here. When you are ready, we're going to start to stretch out through our side body. So taking these hands, walking them to one side, and then again, sitting into our child's pose. So we should feel that stretch. If you walked your hands over to the left, you'll feel that stretch in your right side body, all the way through the arms, and if you reached your hands over to the right, you'll feel it in your left side body. Letting that forehead rest. When you're ready, slowly Tiptoeing those hands through center over to the other side. Feeling that stretch now in the opposite side body, taking a few breaths, breathing into this stretch here. And when you're ready, fingers walking those hands over to center. We're going to go ahead and do something called threading the needle here. So we're going to be up on all fours for just a moment, and you're going to take one arm, we'll take our right arm here, twisting, reaching that arm up towards the sky. So finding a nice deep twist here, inhaling through the nose, and on that exhale, we're going to weave that hand underneath the opposite to what we call threading the needle. So you'll see my cheek is resting right on the mat. You can do the same. And this hand that's sort of supporting us over here can either walk out to reach in front, or if we'd like to, we can bind that hand behind. Eyes can still be closed if you'd like. Sometimes that helps us to center, keeps our mind from wandering. And hips are up in the air here. Your right arm is woven through, thinking about opening that left side. So opening the chest up a little bit, finding that twist here. Taking one more breath. If you had your arm reached out in front or bound behind, taking that hand and bringing it back to where it was. Slowly untwisting, reaching up one more time. Big inhale here. And as we exhale, planting back to tabletop. From here, let's take this left arm. Inhale, reach it high and twist. When you're ready, exhale, weave that hand through the opposite. Rest that cheek on the ground and choosing with that supportive hand. If we want to reach it out in front maybe, or if we took that bind the last time, reaching behind and finding that bind once more. Few more deep breaths here. Remember that arm that's either bound or reaching out. If we bound it behind, opening that chest up, finding that twist. Taking one more inhale. And as you exhale, reaching that supporting hand back to where it started. Untwisting, inhaling, reaching towards the sky one more time. And we'll find tabletop where we'll start our cat-cow exercises. So right here, we're in tabletop position. We are going to bring some movement and breath into our practice, syncing them together. So we'll inhale, reaching that belly towards the ground. So I'm arching my back here, looking up either in front of myself or up maybe where, if you're in an inside room where the wall meets the ceiling. And as I exhale, tucking the tailbone, curving the spine, separating the shoulder blades, chin to the chest. Inhale to cow. You bring that belly towards the mat. And exhale, cat pose. So starting to take this, matching your breath to your movement. Each inhale, cow pose, and each exhale, cat. Vinyāsa Yoga means it translates to breath synced to movement. So through this practice, I'll encourage you to follow my breathing cues with each exhale, each inhale, moving at your own pace. Maybe that's not exactly in sync with my cueing or my movement, but really matching your breath to your movement. Let's take one more cow, one more cat, and then I'll meet you at a neutral spine. All right, from here, we're gonna warm our core up a little bit. So Instead of our spinal balances today, we're going to do some tabletop hovers. So what I'd like you to do is tuck your toes underneath as if you were going to press to downward dog, but instead we are just going to find a hover. So we're going to lift our knees up barely over the mat. We'll hold for about 5 to 10 seconds and then we'll rest. And what I want you to think about is engaging your core here. We're going to wake it up a little bit, all right? So when you're ready, take that inhale and we'll lift the knees, holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower. Very nice. Maybe you need to rock side to side or rock around in between. We'll find our second one of 4 in 3, 2, and 1. Lifting those knees, just hovering them above the mat, using those abdominal muscles. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. These last 2 are going to be just a bit longer. So I encourage you to challenge yourself. Lift through those shoulders. We'll lift in 3, 2, and 1. Lifting up off that mat. Find that hover. Make sure we are breathing. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Good. Shaking that out a little bit. Finding some organic movement. We've got 1 more. In 3, 2, and 1. Last one. Hover those knees. Feel those abdominal muscles work. Make sure we are breathing, pressing up through those palms. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Good. Go ahead and rest. If we need to shake anything out, maybe we need to roll our wrists out, or we can stretch them by placing the top of our palm onto our mat. Not putting too much pressure here, but just kind of balancing ourselves out a little bit. When you are ready, maybe we take some more time to do that. Once you're ready, we're going to press ourselves down into our first downward dog. So we tuck those toes, keep them tucked, press the hips up to the ceiling, and then start to center that weight. So we want to find a pretty equal distribution with the weight in our feet and the weight in our hands, not putting too much weight in one or the other. And it's our first downward dog. So maybe keep a bend in those knees. You'll notice that straightens my back a little bit. Hopefully you notice the same for yourself. That is what's most important right now. So we're not too focused on how close we can press our heels down to the mat or if they can find themselves onto the mat. We're focused more on that spine. And from here, let's start to walk the dog. So we're gonna bend one knee at a time. When we do that, the opposite heel presses towards the mat and we find a nice deep stretch in our calf muscles. Making sure we're breathing, pressing through those hands evenly. Finding some movement here. Breathing in and out through that nose. When you're ready, find that neutral downward dog. And we're going to look between the hands on this inhale. On your exhale, slowly tiptoe the feet to meet the hands. Forward fold. Let our bodies hang down for a moment. So if you're looking up or craning your neck, go ahead and just let it drop. Shake your head no, shake your head yes. That'll help get some of that tension out of our neck and our shoulders. Maybe swaying side to side. Just a ragdoll pose here. And if it feels comfortable to continue to keep your knees bent, I encourage you to do so. Our hamstrings might be a little tight here, especially at the beginning of practice. One thing we're going to do right here to further stretch those hamstrings is we're going to find a bend in one knee. So I'm going to bend this knee closest to you. The opposite hand is going to reach for the ground. Same arm as bent knee is going to reach and twist. So we find a nice little twist here, looking up towards that hand that is reaching for the sky. And we should feel a real deep stretch in that opposite hamstring. Inhale here, and exhale, we fold back. Shake those knees out. Maybe find a generous bend. And when you're ready, we'll bend that opposite knee. Remember, opposite hand is our support. Same hand as the bent knee reaches up as we inhale and twist. Remember, it's the beginning of our practice, so our twists might not be too deep. That is okay. Holding for 3, 2, take an inhale here. As you exhale, fold, and when you're ready, slowly roll up, one vertebrae at a time. Head is the last thing to come up. Take your time here. And when you're ready, we'll find ourselves in mountain pose. So mountain pose, we want to have our big toes touching. Our heels can be slightly separated. We're standing up nice and tall. Maybe do a couple shoulder rolls back to really find that posture here, especially if you feel like your shoulders have been up in your ears or your neck all day. Palms are going to face away from us. Fingertips are open. And from here, let's just take some breaths. So close your eyes if it feels comfortable. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the nose. Take one more breath here. Good. Couple neck rolls before we begin our sun salutation. So we're going to tilt our head towards our chest and then slowly bring one ear to one shoulder, finding a nice stretch here, slowly rolling the head around to the other ear, to the other shoulder, and then chin to chest, circle around. Finding these at your own pace. And if it feels good to maybe stop in one spot, that feels like a nice deep stretch, hold there for a moment, and then continue. When you're ready, let's switch the other direction. Rotating that neck. Let's do one more full roll. And when you're ready, meeting back in mountain. So from here, if you need to grab a drink of water, do so. If you have water near you, that's wonderful. I didn't mention that at the beginning. But we are going to go into our Sun Salutation A, or Surya Namaskar A. So I am going to actually face the side, but what I'd like from you is to be at the top of your mat with your big toes touching. Again, heels can be slightly separated, right in mountain pose. Again, if you have some time right here, take a few deep breaths. And we're going to continue to warm our body up, as well as practice that breath to movement. So right here, we're in mountain pose or Tadasana. We're going to reach our arms up overhead. Big inhale here, Urdhva Hastasana. As we exhale, we swan dive down, nice flat back. As we reach about that halfway point, we can let our upper body fold, forward fold right here, Uttanasana. As we inhale, let's take a halfway lift. So our hands come to our shins, our back's nice and flat, head's in neutral alignment. We exhale, fold, place those hands to the mat. My knees are bent. We can step those feet out into a high plank. I encourage you this first time through to take those knees to the mat. Right here, we find our shoulders over our wrists. Inhaling, leaning that weight forward just a bit, and exhale, slowly lower elbows to our sides, Chaturanga. From here, we're going to find baby cobra. So just a gentle lift of the chest off the mat. We inhale here and exhale, place a cheek to the ground or mat. One more baby cobra, just a lift of the chest here. And then as we exhale, opposite cheek to the mat. Next one, cobra or up dog. We lift fully. Cobra would be right here. Up dog, we lift those thighs off the ground or lift the knees. On that exhale, let's find ourselves in downward facing dog. So flip those toes. Take 3 deep breaths. Remember, if our hamstrings still feel a little tighter, we feel like our back is not completely flat, bending those knees here to help us. It's very important in yoga to meet your body where it's at. On that next inhale, let's look between the hands. We bend the knees, tiptoe the feet to meet the hands, forward fold. When you're ready, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana. We reverse swan dive up. Big inhale here, And as we exhale, we find Tadasana pose or mountain pose. So we're gonna do that 2 more times, this time moving a little bit quicker, really matching our breath to our movement. So if you notice your breathing is slower or faster than what I'm cueing, you are more than welcome to move through this sequence at your own pace. All right, be getting ready to take a nice big inhale up. Here we go, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, flat back. And exhale, we place those hands to the mat, step back, high plank option here. If you want to lower those knees, you can. Inhale, we lean the weight forward. Exhale, slowly lower Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Finding that evenly distributed weight. On that 4th inhale, we look between the hands, bend the knees, tiptoe the feet to meet the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana mountain pose. Inhale, arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant those hands, option to walk or hop the feet out this time. We inhale, reaching our weight forward to the top of the mat. Exhale, slowly lower Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Finding our breath here. Hopefully feeling our body warm up just a bit. On that 4th inhale, looking between the hands, walking or hopping the feet to meet the hands, halfway lift. Inhale here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana, arms overhead. And exhale, Tadasana mountain pose. Very nice job. From here, this is where we can take a little bit of a break if we need it. Either meet me in mountain pose so that I know you're ready, or you can grab some water. We're going to get into our main sequence, which surrounds itself around Surya Namaskar C or Sun C today. Like usual, if you've been attending this class, we will build into our peak pose and layer some things on every time we go. If you're brand new, that's okay too. You will catch on. So if you have a block or book or any type of item with you, this is the time when you are going to need it, so keep it somewhere near you so that it's accessible. I'm going to face this side for the most of this, but there will be parts where I maybe need to face you, so just be a little flexible there, but we will start in mountain pose. Maybe closing the eyes for the moment. Recenter. Next inhale, we reach those arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. From here, this is where we differ from Sun A. We are going to take our right leg and step it back, finding a nice little lunge here. So you have a couple options. We can keep this knee lifted, or if you'd like to, you can lower that knee to the ground for now, okay? We're gonna go ahead, and when you're ready, next inhale, reach those arms up overhead. Take a nice big inhale, Anjaneyasana. As we're here, we're gonna hold here for just a moment. Think about grounding through this front leg, and think about pressing those hips forward so that we can feel a nice deep stretch in the hip flexor of that right leg. Making sure that our knee is directly over our ankle. So if you notice that your knee is going over your toe, adjust that here. Inhale one more time. And we're gonna exhale, frame the feet with our hands, tucking that back toe if you had the knee rested, bringing that front foot back into our high plank. Inhale, shift that weight forward. Exhale, slowly lower Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. On your next inhale, we are going to lift the right leg high, three-legged dog. So foot is flexed. We find a nice balance between our hips. Try not to open your hips up. Inhaling here. When we exhale, we bring that knee through. Step the foot between our hands. So if you took that high lunge the first time, keep that knee lifted. If you drop the knee the first time, drop it again. And we will find Anjaneyasana on this second leg. So arms can come overhead. If it's comfortable for you, maybe finding a slight back bend. If it is not comfortable for you, I encourage you to avoid that and protect your spine. Again, shifting those hips forward, finding that stretch in that hip flexor here, making sure knee is over ankle. One more inhale. As we exhale, we frame that foot. If you had the toe, knee dropped, you're gonna tuck that toe under, lift the knee. We'll step the back leg to meet the front, forward fold. Good. From here, we'll find a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise, reverse swan dive up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, mountain pose. So that was the basis. Let's add on here. Inhale, reach those arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. This time we are going to first step our left leg back. So the position we were actually just in, Anjaneyasana. So again, if your knee is down on the ground, inhale, find that lift. If your knee is lifted, we are in that deep lunge here, okay? So regardless of where you are, we are going to find a twist. Inhale, reach those arms high. Exhale, hands come to heart center. We're going to take our left elbow, bring it over to our right knee. On the outside of that knee, I'm going to face you for just a moment here. So we're here, we bring that elbow to knee, and we find our twist. So here we want to be thinking about a nice deep twist, pressing that elbow into knee, knee into elbow. Looking up towards the sky if that's comfortable for your neck. Good. Staying in that twist for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly untwisting. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, we frame the foot. From here, building on, we are going to find pyramid pose. So if you know that pose, go ahead and get into it. I will walk us into it. If not, we're going to lift the knee if it was down, and we're going to step our back foot in quite a bit. So what we want here is we're going to find a deep hamstring stretch. Both toes are pointed forward. Great time to use your block or something if you have it for support. Maybe your hands don't flat reach the ground without that really strenuous hamstring stretch or bending your knees. So if you want to, you can use that prop to try to keep some integrity in our spine, keep that spine flat. And what we should feel is an intense stretch on this back and our posterior side of our legs, hamstrings and calves. If you're using that prop, we can move it to the side for a moment, reaching our hands towards the ground. On your next inhale, we find Warrior 1. So we're going to take this back foot, bring it back just a few steps, similar to how it was before. We pivot that back foot out to a 45-degree angle. Both heel and toe are on the ground. Bend in that front knee, and when you're ready, we lift. So before we get into hands, I want to just make sure that we feel good about our lower body. We look at that front heel. It's aligned with our back heel. Back foot, remember 45-degree angle, front foot points forward. If you're ready, we can either lift the hands high, we can keep them at heart center, or we can keep them on our hips. We really want to focus on centering those hips. So pulling that right hip back, pulling that left hip forward. And if that helps you to keep the hands on the hips, I encourage you to do so. Bending in that front knee. Let's inhale here. Exhale, Warrior 2. We unfold here. External rotation with those hips. Let's heel toe our front foot over just a bit, so that way now my heel at the front is aligned with the ball of my foot at the back. I open those hips up just a bit, still though thinking about that centering. Arms reach out in opposite directions. If you can, find a nice generous bend in that front knee. On your next inhale, finding reverse warrior. So let's flip the palm of that front arm up. We take the back arm, reach it down towards that thigh, and we tilt. So now our front arm is reaching up towards the sky. I still have that bend in my front knee. So if your knee straightened a bit, keep it bent, keep that engagement there. If we want, we can take this back arm, bind it behind. Take an inhale here. On your next exhale, we cartwheel the arms down, framing the foot, step the front foot behind, high plank. Lean that weight forward, inhale here, exhale chaturanga. Inhale cobra or up dog, and exhale downward facing dog. Beautiful, 2 breaths here. On your next inhale, let's reach that left foot high, 3-legged dog. Center those hips, foot is flexed. When you're ready, exhale, bring that knee through, plant the foot between the hands. Anjaneyasana, so if you chose to keep that knee bent onto the ground, do so. We inhale, lift. Nice big inhale here. As you exhale, hands come to heart center. When you're ready, find that twist. So right elbow to left knee, and we twist, looking the opposite direction. So we're looking towards our left now. We're looking up towards the sky, thinking about pressing that elbow into knee, knee into elbow to strengthen that twist. Every inhale, we can lengthen the spine just a bit. Every exhale, we twist deeper. And remember, if you'd like, you can keep that knee lifted. Little challenge there. One more full inhale, one more full exhale. On your next inhale, untwisting. Anjaneyasana here. And as we exhale, we frame the foot, finding pyramid pose here. So tuck that back toe, walk the back foot in a few steps to where we can comfortably find that pyramid pose, that deep stretch in our hamstrings. If we had the prop nearby and used it last time, grab it here. So both legs are straight, both toes point forward. Trying to keep that spine straight if we can. If you were using that prop, starting to remove it, planting those hands closer to the mat. When you're ready, we're gonna walk that back foot back just a step and find warrior 1. So remember, we plant the heel, foot stays at 45 degrees now, toe and foot planted. Front knee is bent, toes pointed forward. And we're working on centering those hips. So this time the left foot's in front, so the left hip pulls back, the right hip pulls forward. And if it helps to keep the hands on the hips, I encourage you to do so. Inhaling here. Exhale, we unfold warrior 2. So heel toeing that front foot over. So now we have heel to ball of our foot alignment, front heel aligned with back ball of our foot. Arms are out in front of us. One's in front, one's behind, nice straight line. Working on still centering those hips a little bit, even though we have that external rotation. Deep bend in that front knee if we can find it. And on that next inhale, let's find reverse warrior. So that front palm faces up, we tilt, back arm reaches either down for the thigh or we bind it behind. Couple deep breaths here. Lower body is engaged. Taking an inhale, And as we exhale, cartwheel those arms down, finding our lunge. From here, we take the back foot to meet the front, forward fold. Should feel nice on our legs, maybe shake them out a little. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Reaching up overhead. Exhale, mountain pose. Very nice job. We're going to continue to build on. We have one more layer here, but grab some water if you need it. And if not, I will meet you in mountain pose. This is going to take us to our peak pose today, which is going to be dancer's pose. So if you're familiar with dancer's pose, you will figure out where this is all going. Meeting in mountain pose here. Inhale, reach those arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, swan dive down, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold. This time, once again, we bring the right leg back to start. So finding that lunge, Anjaneyasana, bending that knee if we'd like. Inhale here. We exhale, twist. So we actually are twisting the same way we were just twisting the last time around. Inhale here. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Inhale, slowly untwist, reach the arms up high. And exhale, frame the foot, pyramid pose. Tuck that back toe, walk it in a few steps. Find your pyramid pose here. You might notice that your hamstrings are now a little more warmed up, and we can remove the prop, but if you still need it, please use it. Our props are to assist us. They're never crutches. It doesn't mean that you are, not as good at yoga. Again, we're meeting our bodies where they're at. On your next inhale, removing that prop if you used it, finding warrior one. So step that back foot back just a couple steps. Lift, find that bend in our front knee. And remember, heel is down, 45-degree angle here. Heel to heel alignment. Inhale here, and exhale, walk that front foot over. Warrior two, we open up. Back foot's now at about a 90-degree angle. Our front heel's aligned with the ball of our back foot. Inhaling, finding reverse warrior. Exhale here. On your next inhale, we're gonna find warrior one again. So slowly finding your way out of that reverse warrior, heel toeing ourselves, and preparing to adjust that foot. Recentering the hips. We're gonna go ahead and lower our arms here, preparing for dancer. So this is where I'm gonna actually face you. What we're gonna do is we're gonna walk that back foot in just a bit. So now I have more weight in my front foot, which is my left foot. From here, dancer pose is a balance pose. So if you have anything near you that you need to grab onto to find your balance, you can do so, but I encourage you to challenge yourself. So here, we have some options. If balancing just on one foot can be challenging for you, I encourage you to really just take this time to practice lifting a foot and leaving it back down. Maybe lifting that foot again and dropping it. If we'd like to take this a little further though, what we're gonna do is we're gonna find that grounding in our left foot, and then we're going to take our right foot into our hand. So similar, like if we were to do a quad stretch, I grab the outside of my foot, and from here, maybe this is your next step. If we'd like to take it a little farther though, we reach this hand out in front, and we can slowly start to find dancer pose. So from here, I can reach this, pressing the top of my foot into my hand, and vice versa. So they're kind of pressing against each other, finding this balance here. And as we get further and further into the pose, maybe we lean forward. Big key here though, and the reason I'm not going too far into it is we want to find balance in our hips. So it can be really easy to just go right here and open those hips up, but you'll notice as we do that, now my hips open, they're not balanced. So we want to continue that, go as far as you feel comfortable today, still finding that balance in our hips, okay? So take about 30 seconds here to just play around with dancer pose, finding your balance. And as you can if you can get deeper into it, maybe leaning forward. Again, pressing the front of our hip into our hand. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. If you need to, step that foot to meet the hand, and if not, if you want to continue that balance, we're going to take that foot that was just in the air, step it back to find Crescent Lunge. So Crescent Lunge is somewhat similar to what we've been doing. Our toes are pointed forward though. You'll see my back heel is lifted. Lifting those arms high, finding a generous bend in that knee. Inhale here, and exhale, hands come to frame the foot, step the front foot back, finding high plank, take your vinyasa here. So inhale, reach the weight forward, exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Awesome, so we found our peak on one side, maybe shifting that weight from down dog, finding a break here. When you're ready, we are going to lift our right leg high. And as we exhale, bring that right leg through. Anjaneyasana, lifting and breathing. Remember that knee can be lifted. Choose what you've been choosing. Exhale, hands to heart center. And when you're ready, find that twist. Couple breaths here. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Finding that groundedness in our feet, pressing elbow to knee, knee to elbow. On that next inhale, lift high. Exhale, frame the foot, hands to the mat. We step that back foot in pyramid pose. Use that prop if you need it. Holding here for a moment. Preparing for warrior 1. We can take that back foot, step it back once more, lift through the core, warrior 1 here. Front foot is bent. Back heel is on the ground. Heel to heel alignment. Inhale here. Exhale, warrior 2. Walk that front foot over. Find that alignment, heel to big toe. Arms are out straight, shoulders are down and back. Inhale, reverse warrior. On our next breath, we're going to find warrior 1 once more. So starting to recenter those hips. Walk that heel toe of the front foot over. So we're back to heel alignment. Centering those hips, we're going to work on dancer's pose on the other side. So here we're going to have our weight in the front, or the right foot, so our front foot. We can tiptoe the back. Now we have more weight here. And choose a similar or same option as you chose last time. So again, if that was just maybe finding some balance here in general, take that. If we want to add some more, we grab the outside of our foot and either hold, find this little stretch, maybe feel that hip flexor stretch, or we can take this a little further. Good. And remember, we want to find balanced hips, so it can be, exciting to get deep into that dancer's pose. But once we feel those hips open, we want to correct ourselves. Press the top of that foot into your hand into the top of your foot, holding. About 10 more seconds here. I bet you're doing great. Breathe, breathe, breathe. 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bring that leg in. We're going to step it back. Right foot's in front still. Crescent lunge. Inhale here. Exhale, frame that foot. Inhale, step the back foot to meet the front, forward fold. Take an exhale. Shake those knees out. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise, arms overhead. And exhale, mountain pose. Good. Take a breath here. So if you need to recenter, recenter. Find yourself back at that intention you set for yourself at the beginning of class today. Maybe close your eyes. We're going to start to work our way into cool down here. So again, grab water if you need it. I'll meet you in mountain pose. We're going to find a few of our deeper stretches before we take it all the way down to final relaxation. From mountain pose, let's go ahead and reach the arms up. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. With a generous bend in the knees, let's plant the hands to the mat, walk those feet back, forward fold. I'm gonna face the side for you all. From here, we're gonna find three-legged dog, so let's lift the right leg high. Exhale, bring that leg through. Nice little lunge. Just for a moment here, we're gonna go into lizard. So from here, option to bring the knee down. We're gonna heel toe that foot to the edge of the mat. Right foot to the right edge of the mat. So now both of my arms are on the inside. So this is our lizard pose. And what we can do here is, if this feels good for you, keep this as an option. So just pressing our knee into our arm, arm into knee. If that is a little strenuous for you, we can leave our block or our prop. Use that to help support us, okay? If maybe you want something more challenging, you can bring your forearms to the mat and then sink deeper into that. Last added challenge would be lifting the knee off the ground, and really you can choose that option with either hands on the mat or forearms on the mat. So choose that right now. We're gonna be here for about 5 breaths. We want to feel that stretch through our hips, specifically that left hip flexor, and then the right one will feel that right hip in general. So if we'd like to, maybe this is not your first yoga practice and you are familiar with Wild Thing, I'm going to provide that option today. And if this is a little bit too intense for you today, I want you to continue to stay in lizard pose. But if we'd like to try Wild Thing, what you're gonna do is you're gonna lift your knee off the ground. So now I have this lifted lizard pose. I'm gonna take my left arm and more so center it to the mat. I'm gonna take my right foot and it's actually gonna step behind the left. So now you'll see my right foot is the closest to you. And I have this nice little bridged pose. I can reach my right arm overhead. This is our Wild Thing. And we can just expand through the chest here, find some engagement in that posterior side of our body. Holding for 3, 2, and we're going to, as gracefully as possible, use our core to lift ourselves back into our lizard pose. And if you stayed in lizard, we're back with you. Knee is going to come to the ground for everyone. We're going to find pigeon pose. So heel toe that foot. Now right foot to the left side of our mat. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rest that shin onto the mat, finding this posture here. So if you're noticing your hips are pretty lifted off the ground like mine are, what I encourage you to do is take your pillow or prop and rest it right under your hip. Here we're gonna find a nice deep stretch in that outer right hip. So that's what you should be feeling right now, maybe even a stretch in this back hip flexor. Foot is straight behind us. And we're gonna inhale here. If it feels comfortable, exhale slowly lower to our forearms. This would be considered sleeping pigeon. We're using this time to find some of our deeper stretches here now that our body is warmed up. So I encourage you to center yourself during this time. Maybe close your eyes. And inhale deeply, each exhale, finding yourself deeper and deeper into that pose. We'll be here for about 5 more breaths. If you were down on your forearms, start to slowly walk yourself back up. If you had a prop that you were using under your hip, slowly remove that prop. We're going to tuck the back toe, and when you're ready, lifting yourself on that toe and on your arms, taking the front foot, lifting one more time into three-legged dog, and then planting that foot on the mat. This time, let's take the left leg high, three-legged dog. As we exhale, we bring that knee through, stepping the foot between the hands. Right away, we're going to move to lizard pose. So if you'd like to drop that knee to the mat, you can. Heel toe that left foot to the left side of the mat. And from here, we now have both hands on the inside, finding lizard pose. So whatever that means to you, maybe it means staying upright on our hands and wrists. Maybe it means lifting that knee off the ground to find a deeper stretch. Or maybe it means lowering to our forearms to find a deeper stretch. Always have the option to use that prop to lift yourself a bit higher here. And again, we're feeling that stretch deep into the posterior side of that front foot's hip, so our left hip, and we're feeling that stretch in our hip flexor of the right leg. Holding here for 2 more breaths. If you chose to take Wild Thing on the first side, this is your opportunity here. And if you stayed in lizard, please stay in lizard again. So from here, we lift the knee. We're going to put some weight into that right arm and hand here, taking the left leg, flipping it over. So now my right leg is the one that's closest to you. Pressing that foot straight. My left leg is bent, helping to support me. And I'm reaching over, finding that beautiful Wild Thing pose. Opening through the chest here. Holding for 3, 2, and 1. Remember, gracefully using our core to bring ourselves back into that lizard pose for just a moment before we find pigeon. So heel toeing that foot to the opposite side, left foot to the right side. We rest that shin down. If you took the option for a prop on the first side, grab that prop, place it under your hip, and when you're ready, find sleeping pigeon. So if it's comfortable lowering to the forearms, maybe it's enough sensation today to stay up on hands and wrists. That is totally fine. Always meet your body where it's at. Maybe one day, the other day you could do one option and now you can't, and that's okay. Our bodies feel different every day. Nice deep breaths through the nose here. Each exhale sinking deeper into this pose. Finding that stretch on your outer hip of that left leg. Two more breaths. If you were down on your forearms, starting to walk yourself back up. If you used a prop, taking that prop, removing it. And when you're ready, we are just going to sit onto that left hip and swing our legs around. We are nearing our final relaxation, so we have a couple more things to do before we completely relax. But what we're going to do next is lie on our back, supine pose, preparing. So slowly lowering down for 3, 2, and 1. Head's the last thing to touch. We're going to just hug our knees here. So grabbing the shins, rocking from side to side. Maybe taking a moment to reflect on your practice today. And not so much maybe how much your body could do, but how centered you found yourself. Was your mind wandering off? Are you able to really focus on your breath and your movement? From here, we're going to take our knees at 90 degrees, both knees, and just twist them to the left. Here we can reach our arms out to a T and look towards the right hand. So a nice little supine twist. Both legs are in and hugged, 90 degrees at the knee. Finding one last twist in our practice today. If it feels comfortable to close your eyes, you are more than welcome to. When you're ready, slowly untwisting, finding yourself back at center, hugging those knees one more time. And then when you're ready, reaching those legs to the opposite side. So knees at 90, they move towards the right side now, and we look to the left. Both shoulders on the mat. When you are ready, we can bring those knees back in one more time and slowly let them tiptoe out. If there's any other pose that you wanted to do today before final relaxation, you can do so now. And if you're ready, laying supine on our backs, palms facing up towards the ceiling, feet are maybe splayed out. And if it's comfortable to close your eyes, doing so. Taking these last few moments of class to recenter yourself. Let all of those thoughts, worries wander out, and just breathe. When you are ready, start to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, find a little bit of movement in there. If you feel maybe you need a few extra minutes in Shavasana, you are more than welcome to stay there. But if you are ready to close your practice, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, maybe rolling the wrists and ankles. Let's take a good morning stretch, reaching those arms overhead, reaching the toes in the opposite direction. And when you're ready, slowly turning to your favorite side and gently pressing up to a seated position where we're going to end class today. So we're going to end class with a couple deep breaths, just that last moment to reflect on your practice and prepare for the rest of your day. Let's inhale the arms up high and exhale lower. One more breath here. Inhale the arms up high, and let's bring those hands together and lower to heart center, where we will close our practice today. When you are ready, you can bow your head to your hands to seal your practice. The light in me honors and respects the light in each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Namaste. So thank you all for coming to class today. Again, my name is Jackie. This was Vinyāsa Yoga. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can let us know in the comments. We also have a survey down there in the description of this class. So if you wouldn't mind taking the time to click that link, fill out the survey. It'll let us know how you felt about class today and maybe what you want to see in future classes. It helps give me feedback to know how I did as your instructor so that I can continue to make this class the best it can possibly be for all of you. So please do that before heading out, and otherwise I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you. Bye.